And we are recording. So, hello to everyone that is watching. Welcome to the fifth episode of My Avon Story. Had really nice feedback on the last one with the legendary Judy White. Lovely to talk to her. Now we have someone in the a bit of a younger age bracket who's come up through the ranks at Avon. We have my good friend and all-round good guy, City Sidar Holder.
Everyone.
Yeah, mate.
I'm doing well, thanks. How
Yeah,
about yourself?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. How's lockdown treating you?
I mean, I'm getting fat, but
Oh, you're not. You're not.
that's it's going well. Just studying and trying to do a bit of exercise as well. Just trying to
Mhm.
keep my mental health.
What are you doing for exercise?
Uh, just a bit of running now and then, and I'm trying to focus on like stretching every day because when you're lanky, you just can't move your joints at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
preach that, mate, preach that. Um, anyway, right, so enough of the jibber jabber. Sid, I'm not sure if you've seen any other ones. Well, I mean, tell me you have, but who knows what you're like. So, what I just like to start with is how you got into how you like so your maybe your first memories and how you got into badminton, just picking up a racket and getting involved in that sort of scene.
I think like quite a lot of the people you've interviewed, one of the main reasons I got into badminton was because of a parent. So my dad specifically, he used to play back in the day,
Back in the day,
and yeah,
he's still a fantastic player now, City.
yeah. I mean, it's not really a match anymore, is he? I'm only joking. Yeah, I mean, my earliest memory of badminton is just playing with him and the family in the garden. Just absolutely missing every shot because of the wind. That's what I like to think. Um, but yeah, I used to think just that was my first experience with sport, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And I just thought, well, I got to beat my dad at one point, so that's kind of what started it, to be
Was that the
honest.
first goal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
I
Sid
mean,
smashed you every single time you played early on.
yeah, he wasn't merciful, is all I could say.
So as you like, you're just starting to pick it up and stuff, and maybe you feel like, oh, I might be getting pretty handy at this. What like when did you start thinking I want to sort of take it a little bit further? When do you think you want to start to take it a little bit further, mate? And like maybe joining a club or how to get involved from an early age?
Yeah. So when I was about 9 or 10, I think I wanted to, and my dad like encouraged me to join a club. So I used to play at St Ursula's every Sunday, and you'd always have Roy Niblett and Mark Marsh just supervising, and it was always good fun. Like they give you some good coaching, and they let you play matches for the last hour. So it was a 2 hour session every Sunday, and I remember just like absolutely loving it from the start. I've always wanted to get better, and I think the most important part was having fun.
Yeah.
Uh, and they managed to make me feel that. So I have a big respect to Mark Marsh and Roy Niblett, and Roy Niblett's sadly no longer here,
Mm-hmm.
but it's where it's all started. But yeah, it was St Ursula's pretty much.
Yeah.
I didn't live too far away, so it was quite convenient. So I tried to play as much as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I played with my dad a couple of times, just like for the first time on an actual court, and I was like, oh my god, how you start off with the plastic shuttles, and
Mm-hmm.
you think you're massive, but and then you move on to feather shuttles, and you realize you just have no power.
Oh
But
mate, I'm with you. So okay, so like you're starting to sort of play club level and enjoying it in that respect. If I'm right in thinking you joined county at under 11s, just under 12s, maybe. I can't remember. I think you were
I,
11 or
I
12.
think I was 11 when I
Yeah.
joined. Yeah.
So you're joining at that stage. How do you remember like how you like maybe who recommended you, how you got into it, and like your first sort of memories of the county scene when you first joined?
So I think I'm not sure if it still happens, but there was a thing called the Feathers Tournament,
Yeah.
which ran at St Ursula's. I think it was once a year or maybe more. And then I think I got recommended by Roy and Mark,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought might as well try
Yeah.
out. And ended up doing kind of well. I think if I can remember, I think I got to the semis, and then I got absolutely battered by I think it was Paul McCrimmon.
Oh
uh,
well,
yeah.
who
So
wouldn't lose to Paul McCrimmon at the end of the day?
yeah, I know. But it was really fun,
Yeah.
and I think Paul Tomlinson was there, and I think he was the one who said to try and come along to the Saturday sessions. So those county sessions were run in every Saturday at St. Ursula's back then.
Mhm.
And that's how it all started. Just joining coaching and meeting everyone for the first time.
Mhm.
Fond
As,
memories.
as like a starting county player, like did you think, like, when you first joined county, did you think you, especially after the first few sessions and your first thoughts on it, did you feel like at that time you really wanted to kick on with it and make it like a your sport? Because I know obviously you played cricket a bit as well, and maybe a couple other sports. Like, but did you feel soon after that badminton was your sport, or did it take a bit of time?
Uh, I think it did take a bit of time because I did play a lot of sports back then. I think I used to play cricket, table tennis, bit of football now and then. Obviously not well, but yeah, I like to dabble in a lot of sports. But as soon as I started playing badminton like properly, and training at county and playing at a higher standard, I think I just started to love the sport way more. Like I just love the fast-paced nature of the game and the amount of tactics you need and stamina, and it just quickly became a favorite. And it was literally the only sport I thought about from like 12, 13.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So as obviously you're getting pretty handy, you're starting to play a bit more, a few tournaments and everything. Then as is quite a similar pathway with a lot of Avon players, you started going. Well, we started going on Wednesdays to Team Bar Futures and subsequently Team Bar. How did that help your individual development? I'll start with that. How did going to Team Bath, and especially obviously Pete Bush, how did that help your individual development, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, 100% Pete Bush had a big impact on my game because I can't remember when I joined him. It must be when I was 13 or maybe younger, but I literally had no technique or anything. I just awful footwork. And I remember like the first thing he said to me was, "You rubbish footwork." And I was like, fair enough. That's why I'm here. But yeah, Pete worked me really hard. He taught me a lot of things. And I guess that's where my singles nature originates from, because obviously he's very singles orientated. But yeah, I remember just like I always thought it was hard because it was, I think the sessions were 4 to 6 at Bath for level ones,
Yeah.
and then
No,
it was just
six
was
to
it four
eight,
to
right? I think.
six?
And then eight.
Oh, the latest session was 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 6 to 8, it was straight after school. You got to get changed in the car and you quickly drive off to Bath to mates, and it was a bit stressful,
The
but
traffic was awful, wasn't it? For the
yeah.
sixth one, I remember we obviously did a little pickup rota, my mum and your mum. I remember the traffic was also horrific. Honestly, it was so bad. Anyway.
Yeah, 4 to 6 is a peak time, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
But it's all right because you have bands in the car and you play some good tunes. But I did think it was a bit stressful getting to the sessions, but once you're there, it's nice because you just have one thing to focus on, and you've got.
Sorry, I was just going to ask. Do you think footwork? You mentioned footwork earlier. Was that the main thing that you think Pete helped you develop? Because obviously he's so good at technical advice. And do you think that aspect of it was the main thing you were taking away from the sessions?
Yeah, I think it was definitely the footwork and the technical advice he gave me. Because before I used to just think that you just got to try your best for each point. Just hit it hard sometimes, but obviously there's a lot more which goes into the game, and I think going to Pete sessions gave me like a better perspective of the game, which is really important, I think, to be a smart player as well. You can be as talented as you want, but you've got to be smart as well. Yeah, I mean, that was my first proper like high level training, because county sessions were more, you had like a greater range of player level than you. But at Team Bath, it was everyone's at the same standard pretty much. And he made you work really hard. Like at the end of each session, I was gone. Like I was so.
Remember the shuttle runs we had to do?
Yeah.
Where you go one court to. Oh.
Yeah, unbelievable, unbelievable pain, I should say. But I was always the one who, when he's not looking at you, I just lie down, and then I get back when he's looking at you. Obviously, I shouldn't have said that, but I mean, it was definitely
out in
hard.
the public now, Sid. You can't go back on it now, mate. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
These podcasts go worldwide. So many people will see this. honestly. Anyway, no. So moving on from that, mate, or maybe even moving back. I can't exactly remember when this was, but I'm sure you'll be able to remember. I mean, obviously, I mentioned like as you get better, and it's the same with many players' development. You start playing tournaments and start entering tournaments from under 13s, probably under 11s, maybe. Can you, as obviously you're getting better and you've won a fair few in your time, can you remember that first tournament win, especially for singles, and also maybe doubles as well? Because I know you play with Cam Elliott. Can you remember those at all?
I think my first singles win was an under 13 bronze in Hereford. No, not Hereford, Hertfordshire. Yeah. And I just remember like thinking once I won the final, I was like, oh my God, I won a tournament. This is it. This is the feeling. Because like in all tournaments I played before, obviously when you start off, you're not expected to do that well compared, because you get really strong players who'd been training for a long time back in like the younger age groups. And this is like my first breakthrough win, and it did feel really, really good. I have to say, you just once you've won a tournament, you just got to think to yourself like you have that bit more confidence, I'd say. Doubles, I actually can't win. I can't remember the. I can't win. Sorry, I actually can't. Like,
Cam's probably listened to this, mate. I think you two are a great double pair.
That's not what I meant, Cam. Anyway, I actually can't remember the first tournament we won. It must have been a Southwest tournament, restricted. Those are big. It was a big win. But yeah, playing with Cam, I absolutely loved it. Great guy, so athletic.
Do you think, for me personally, I'm not sure what it is for you, but I think from a young age, having those tournament atmospheres and the highs and lows you get at these tournaments, from whatever standard, bronze to gold, I think it really helps you understand sort of where you want to go with badminton and where you want to take it. Did you find that was the same with you?
Yeah, definitely. But to begin with, I thought it was a really different experience, tournaments, in comparison to just training, because tournaments, I mean, it's either win or lose, and you've got to think about nerves and tactics properly. But yeah, I actually didn't enjoy tournaments at first because I used to get really competitive, and when I lost, I would, I'd go into I'd do tantrums and stuff, yeah, like had a little cry once I lost sometimes. It definitely takes getting used to, I think, because once you start for your first few tournaments, just pure nerves, I'd say.
Yeah.
And it really is difficult. I think you've got to have the right support behind you to get into the tournaments properly. But luckily I did. And, I have great friends, great parents who always push me to go to tournaments. And once you've started to play a couple, and it doesn't matter if you've won or lost, you realize it's just a tournament, and you don't take it too seriously. But it's definitely you need a different mindset, I'd say, to get into a tournament.
Because obviously as players get better and they start moving up the rankings, obviously in tournaments like the ones yourself and I went to, for example, they'd obviously have seedings and places like that. And obviously as you're getting better, you get the number 1 seed or number 2 seed. For me personally, I hated being seeded. What was your mindset in terms of if people are expecting you to win, did you like thrive off that, or did you not really take to that? Because it was happening pretty much every tournament as you're getting better.
I mean, just thinking about it, like, it's crazy how your mindset progresses, or your mentality changes over time. Yeah, initially, once I got good enough to get a good ranking and started to get seeded in tournaments, it did feel good, but it did also feel like there was more pressure on you to perform well. And then you also put more pressure on yourself, saying, oh yeah, I'm seeded, I've got to get through my bots, got to win this match, which is a habit which I didn't really stop until maybe 16, 17. Like, I used to be the guy who just looks at Badminton England the day before, and then you check the seedings, you're like, oh my God, I'm seeded. And then you look at your boxes, you're like, oh yeah, I'm sure I'll get through this box. So I've got to think about who I'm going to play in the semi, and it's not. I don't think for me that never worked. I just worked myself up doing that, and it was always the case that the person I think I should beat was the biggest hurdle. So yeah, I think seeding, you've got to look at it the right way, which is something I didn't really learn until a bit later on.
So, I mean, real like in my like junior level is sort of under 17, possibly under 18, you could say, up down until under 13s, whatever. Looking back at all the tournaments you played, is there one tournament or maybe a couple or even a year where you did really well that sort of stands out in your junior career, mate? Or are there just too many to pick from?
No, that's definitely not the case. I think 2018 was quite a good year for me. I think I won a couple of bronzes and did well in some of the. I think that's when I was starting to transition into the senior circuit, as well. Even though I was junior, and
so you were I started under 17s at those times, like your last year in under 17. Is that right? Or was that
around that point, under 18s, yeah. And I was entering like the under 17 golds, and it was good. I was playing really hard opponents, and there were people who I beat who I really shouldn't have, and there were also people that I lost to who I really shouldn't have. But overall, 2018 was a really good season, and obviously ICT 2018 was great fun. I mean, it always is. I love the team aspect of the sport. It almost feels like all my best performances are with Avon, and honestly, I don't think that's surprising, because the team is so good. There's great team spirit. Everyone motivates each other, and I've just absolutely loved it every time I've played for Avon. I think if we go back to individual championships, I guess the nationals was always pretty big. I think I played the nationals every year, and since I was under 13. Playing with Cam and the doubles, playing with Eve mixed, had some great games. Even singles. The nationals I think is really good, because this is like the top level, and it does feel good just to enter it. And like, I think my goal for the nationals was always just to try and win one match, because I never thought I was like a top 10 national player who was expected to do well. So I was just happy if I won one match, or even a game, to be honest.
And did you?
Yeah, I a couple of times I did win a match, but it never went further than that. But I was just glad to be there.
I remember turning up to the nationals, and did you was initially, the first time you went, is it a bit overwhelming? They've got the screens behind the courts, they've got proper umpires, and you have to show them the shuttle and stuff. Did you sort of take that stuff in your stride, or did you sort of feel, oh my god, like I'm playing professional?
Yeah, it's definitely different to what you'd expect for the first time, because I mean, just the act of having an umpire there just calling out your score,
in a chair as well, in a high chair.
Yeah, and you kind of have to wait between points. It's like, I just want to get the game done, right? Come on. But yeah, it does feel a lot more formal, especially playing in the NBC, when they've got like these proper nice courts, and then you've got people watching in the background and interactive TVs and stuff. It's all very cool, but it does add to the nerves, I think, because you feel like you've got to perform here, because this is like the highest stage. Yeah, it's cool though. I think it is really cool, because it also did help me like pace my game a bit, because sometimes I just rush into the next point without even like slowing down. But having an umpire there just to call out the score every time, it does slow you down, and you've got to watch your serve. And yeah, it is really good experience, I'd say.
And so, sort of, as you briefly alluded to with ICT, that is for most juniors almost the sort of the nice pinnacle, the nice ending to a junior career. I know you went twice. I mean, you've already said you enjoyed it, but if you could sort of sum up how much you enjoyed, and you look back at those ICTs with fondness, because I know for many Avon juniors, like ICT is definitely a highlight of their badminton career.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the same. So I went twice, once in 2017, once in 2018. Yeah, it is just so different to any other county experience. Well, first of all, because you're there for more than one day, whereas other things were just all the Shires matches were one day, one day.
Yeah.
And it's just the atmosphere. Everyone's just banging out all the noise. You got the horns out. Uh, you've got people scoring as well. Well, it's normally your own friends, but that it's just so you've got parents watching as well, loads of spectators. It's just unbelievable, the atmosphere. Like it feels like you really are playing for something when you play ICT. I can't even remember how we did in the first 2 years, but I feel like we exceeded expectations both times.
I
Yeah,
think
it
in
just
our year we came, I want to say 13th, was it? I think. And did you guys come 12th the next year, 11th? It might have been
I'm
even
not,
ninth or 8th. I can't exactly remember, but I
I'm
think
not quite
definitely
sure.
the expectations in those 2 years that you went.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a pattern there.
Oh, don't flatten me.
So, mate, when you look back at both those ICTs, is there not necessarily in your match, but was there a particular team win or even a fantastic team display against the county that you really like look back on and smile and think everyone put in such good shift there?
Specific matches, I'm not too sure I can remember, but I remember times when it was just down to the last match, and you get like it'd just be one court, and then you get everyone just sat out around the court, and you just be cheering and everything. And there were times when can't remember how the matches were played out in ICT. I think it was out of 11 games, or
Yeah,
is it?
singles first and then sort of goes to mixed doubles last, I think.
Yeah, I think there were times when we were like 4-love, 5-love down in terms of matches, and then we just bring it back, and then we just clutch the win, and it's just unbelievable. And when it comes to that, it's not just like one person or one pair carrying the team. It is fully a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like specifically there was a time when me and Cam, we were really close. I think it was the Scottish team, county.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up losing, but it was such an unbelievable match. Like it's probably one of the best bantam matches I've played. Just because we were close to winning. It was obviously sad that we lost, but it's just the atmosphere when you're playing. You got everyone behind your backs, and you're giving it all. You can't really be upset. But yeah, it's just amazing. The team effort, the team spirit, it's all there. Specific and like I'm trying to think of more specific matches, but they're all just so fun.
It goes by so quickly, doesn't it? But more like as you said, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about how much I feel like when I went a couple of times, the team like Avon were definitely the loudest team in the hall. I don't think there's really any debate about that. How does that aspect help push you on court?
You just know that you got people behind your back. That's the best feeling. There are people who are watching your game, because I know there are times when some counties they just wouldn't watch some of the matches their own team members were playing, but we never had that with Avon. We'd always have people supporting, we'd always have people cheering, and obviously having the loudest presence was intimidating to say the least to other people. So I'm hoping that continues. So I do feel like people did actually get scared of it just because how loud we were, but obviously we meant it in good steed, didn't we?
Always. So, mate, just quickly before we sort of get into your senior achievements, like throughout the whole course of a junior career, most players sort of, especially as they get into the end of juniors, start thinking about really sort of finalizing a discipline that they really they sort of pride themselves on. Let's say, for lack of a better phrase. Obviously, you're a fantastic singles player, mate. Was it ever a conscious, like, do you ever remember making a conscious decision about singles, or was it just you felt your development in that was just slowly progressing a bit more than doubles in that sense?
I think there was never a point where I was just like, yeah, I want to focus on one thing. I think it just happened that I'd be training a lot of singles specific things, and it just happened so that my singles game would progress more than my doubles and mixed. I mean, I enjoy them all equally. I just say my singles is slightly better than my doubles and mixed. Um, yeah, and it's also the fact that I hate letting people down, and I think that's one of the aspects I struggle with in doubles and mixed. When you play awful and you're a pair, right? You can't. It just feels like you've let the team down. I think that's one of the main reasons I maybe went to singles, and yeah, it's mainly because of my serve, to be honest. It's the serve, which, I mean, I struggled with the serve for so long, but I feel like it's getting better now.
Mate. So did I, honestly. I remember a game where we played doubles together, and as soon as we actually got into the point, we were fine. But that rarely actually happened, because whenever we served, it was just an automatic point to them. Oh, it's shocking. So bad. Anyway,
honestly, like, yeah, I think Judy was mentioning it before in one of your previous interviews. It just is so important. It's the most important shot, and if you can't like get it down, it just affects everything. I don't like to say it either, but yeah, that's probably why I gravitated towards singles a bit more, because the serve didn't matter that much.
And do you think, sorry, mate, just quickly, do you think your sort of style of play is more suited to singles? And certainly from watching from the outside, it looks like, because obviously you're quite tall and you move around quite maybe better than others. Do you think that sort of lends itself to a singles game more than perhaps a doubles game?
Oh, that's a tricky question, because singles wise, yeah, it does help having I mean, I have decent height. It does help having that. You get those nice angles, steep angles. You get steep smashes as well. But I think in singles specifically, it does, once you're like really tall and lanky, you do find it hard to move around the court sometimes. Often I'd find in matches where I'd be playing against like slightly smaller people than me, but they were a lot more agile, and all they do was they just keep me in the back and move me back and forth. And like I would just be so tired at the end of like a single game, and that's something that I've definitely tried to work on in singles. But doubles wise, I did really like doubles. Just, I just love banging the smash out. I don't know. I would say having a tall height is more beneficial to doubles, which is odd because I play singles. Yeah, I think there are advantages and disadvantages to both. I feel like a taller player is suited to the back in doubles, but again, like even at the front, you can cut stuff off really well, which is something I'd really like to do when I'm at the front. Just get your racket up and just cut. It's always satisfying when you catch someone out like that.
Good. I reckon I would be a great mix. If I played mixed doubles, I generally like to swap around, just because I like cutting stuff off the net, and then someone can be at the back.
That's what me and Eve did most of the time. She had a bigger smash than me.
Yeah, she did, to be fair. Miles bigger. Anyway, all right. So as so you've played for 8-9 years, maybe, as we're sort of getting to senior level. I think you started off in the fifths, is that right? Yeah, so you started off in the fifths at 17 or 18. Yeah. What was there a bit of nervousness, anticipation, sort of playing for a senior team for the first time? But I know from talking to other players our age, like it feels like quite a significant step up from playing juniors to going to seniors. I wonder what that was like for yourself.
Yeah, at first I did think it was a bit more serious than senior, because you've got people. You've got, obviously you're the youngest there. When I joined, I was pretty much the youngest there the whole time. It does feel like the older people, they do expect more of you, because they are experienced as well. But I think that's just like a bit of imposter syndrome at first, because I mean the team spirit, the support is all still there. I mean, even when you transition from junior to senior at Avon, so you quickly fit in straight away. I think it just took me like one weekend to, you got friends there, you'll make friends. There's always someone who's watching you, supporting you, and always giving you advice. So I mean, the transition for me wasn't. It was pretty seamless, I'd say.
How important is it as a junior player coming into a senior team that uh, the team are coming into, which, as you say, is obviously full of experienced players? How important is that for your personal development or just even um, mental zone, so to speak? How important is that playing when you have that support behind you? So for people you've probably maybe never met before, but always cheering you on as the senior players to a new player.
I think it really is important, because if I didn't have that sort of entry into senior level play, I think my first couple of weeks of senior level tournaments would be I'd just be pure nerves, because first of all you're playing against adults who are more experienced than you at first, and then just pure nerves. Yeah, I can't remember. There have been specific times when when you join a new league. So in this case, you're joining the senior teams. You want to play your best at first, and you want to give out a good impression.
Yeah, you want to prove yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously that's not going to happen for everyone. You're going to have tough games. I remember feeling bad just because I think there was a couple of matches I lost in the start of my senior career, just because I wanted to impress people. I wanted to show people I was good enough to be there. And you do feel bad when you lose your first match at senior level, but when you've got people who are also like supporting you, they've gone through the same thing just a couple of years back or wherever it is, and they have the experience, and you do feel welcome to be there. I think that's what makes Avon so great. Just the support you get, even when you don't know any of them, they're just unconditional support. It's just unbelievable. It's so great.
In your first third year or two, maybe, I remember, was it your first year that you started off at the fifths and then you got a call up to the thirds? Was that your first year or maybe second?
I think I got called up to the fourths first before I went to the thirds.
Maybe it was the fourth.
Mm.
But anyway, so you basically you're in a lower team and you got called up. You got called up to a higher team because of how your singles was going. Do you remember, or even just how was that as a feeling? Was that a big motivator to you to sort of keep pushing on? Because obviously it's being recognised, what you're doing as a very much a new player in the senior ranks.
Mm. I mean, I guess for me, I actually just love senior level play as well. So I was happy to play anywhere, because I love playing. Well, I love playing badminton, obviously, and I just play with Avon. Doesn't matter what team you're in, you just have a good time. So for me, when I got called up, I was like, I was happy at first, but then I did think, I've made all these new teammates. Now I'm just going to move up again straight away. So like, it sort of felt a bit rushed. I felt like there were people better than me who could have taken my place, but I mean, in the end, it's not your decision, is it? You just got to take it. But yeah, I mean, it was the same thing. You start to fit in really well with everyone, no matter which team you play with. And it does, yeah, you're right. It does motivate you to play to a higher standard. Uh, yeah, I mean, for me, because it almost feels like I'm getting promoted to the next league uh, every one or 2 years, which I don't know how I feel about that, because I do feel that there are people who are better than me consistently. Um, yeah, because I think the main thing for me was just, you've made all these new friends and you've played a couple of matches with them, and then now you're moving on to another team. It does feel a bit weird.
Mm-hmm. Just talking, we'll sort of go back to how you progressed, up, but just sort of quickly going back to the sort of junior to sort of senior divide. Did you find it a struggle? And not this doesn't just apply to team events of Avon, but to tournaments as well. Did you struggle adapting to the senior tournaments? Obviously, a lot more high paced. Obviously, sort of it's a lot more rigorous layout in the tournaments. You could turn up somewhere and only play one match. Did you does that excite you? Did you sort of go into those tournaments thinking, I want to prove myself from a young player on the scene, or was it a bit intimidating? Again, like, as I know we just talked about the going to the senior team, but also for tournaments as well.
yeah, just the transition into the senior level. It definitely was. I wasn't expecting it. I think it would just be, everyone's a bit stronger, a bit faster, but there's a big difference between how juniors play and how seniors play, physically and mentally, I'd say. Because before, at junior level, I felt like I was winning a lot of points just from a single shot. So like a nice drop shot, you would be winning points. But at senior level, it almost feels like everyone just has 10 times as much stamina, and you definitely don't have that much stamina when you first transition. So I was just getting like run off the court most of the times, and I just didn't even get the chance to play any good shots just because I was so tired. So physically, it was definitely hard for me, because I'm not the most fit person anyway. And also mentally, it almost feels like, especially playing county and some of the higher level senior tournaments, it almost feels like people can just read your game instantly, and like you play 5 points with them and then they just figured out your weakness and then they keep doing that and you couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, it was definitely scary playing some senior players, and you can just tell they've got experience that you don't have.
Do you
But
think?
hey, I mean,
Do you mentioned about the fitness aspect of it? Do you think that's the biggest attribute in badminton that changes from the junior to the senior side?
I would say it is a big factor, but I think the mentality is the biggest thing that changes,
Okay.
between the junior level and the senior level. It almost feels like at junior level, people are just there to have a bit of fun, which is good. But you've got, at senior level, you've got to want to win as well, really, like really badly, because that's just how it is. That's how people, how the top players play. They're always thinking about winning the matches. And it's just relentless. That's how I would describe it. Like you got to fight for every single point, at senior level. Um, that's what I found so hard, because at junior level, it almost feels like people kind of just give up, after say you won the first set. People give up a bit, and then you can just relax, and then at senior level, there's just no scope for that. As soon as you let your guard down, you just lose the momentum straight away. That's happened to me so many times where I've won the first game and I've just relaxed a bit, thought I'd conserve a bit of energy, and then out of nowhere the opponent would just come back, and then they have all the momentum going into the third game. So yeah, mentality is something which I think is so important, and it does need to be taught at an early age, I'd say.
Very interesting. What I would want to ask as well is, I think you have quite a relaxed on-court sort of playing style in terms of like, you don't like to maybe celebrate after every point like some people do. I mean, and all aspects of that are fine. Like however you conduct yourself on court, but for you personally, why do you think that sort of relaxed style in terms of your on-court presence suits you best?
Mm. That's a tough one, because I never used to be like that.
I
I think
know.
this is something
Yeah, that is a good point actually. Sid used to be a horrible player today. Awful, honestly. He'll come up to the net after every point, giving it the biggest.
Yeah, this is a more recent development. It's tough to say, because when I'm calm, I feel like I'm more in control of myself, to put it bluntly. And sometimes I just don't really see the point of celebrations or getting upset. Like, yeah, I guess it was a big point, but I feel like spending too much time thinking about it, celebrating, getting upset about it, you're focusing on the past, you're not focusing on the present, you're not focusing on what you can do in the next couple of points or in the next set. So I kind of just tend to leave my celebrations or sadness till the match is over. That's what I do now. I think remaining calm on court is really, really important, and because things will go wrong inevitably. You can't really control some things, and you'll be hitting into the net a lot of times. And there was a point where I was always just getting upset. I was getting angry at myself as I was getting upset, but there was just a point where I was like, what's the point of getting upset when you've got another point to focus on? I think that's that's why I try and be calm on court. But there are times when I do get like pumped up after like a, you got like a really intense rally and you've just won it. It is good to like give yourself like a pat on the back sometimes. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Awesome. So quickly again, I'll just focus on another quickly Avon individual tournament, Avon team tournament, sorry, and then we'll focus on where you are sort of today. We were just talking about on before we recorded. It's almost 2 years since we had a team go to ECC in York. It was a fantastic weekend in terms of memories on and off the court for the team. There are some fantastic matches from yourself there, mate. You beat Alex Cook. You beat Rico Shergill, I believe, two players who I believe were B grades at the time, and really highly thought of, highly ranked. You went on and beat both of them, mate. Like, that was for me like sort of obviously growing up with you, like you're going on the court and beating these players. For me, that looked like a really big step. Can you sort of try and think back to those matches and sort of maybe sort of just describe the experience of playing a player that is higher ranked than you, but then going on and beating them?
Yeah, it is that's what I love the most, I'd say, about badminton, playing people who are better than you, well, you think who are better than you. Mm-hmm. And I know I just get so excited. I'm just like, it almost feels like you're the underdog, which you are, I guess. And for me, that kind of reduces the pressure a bit, and you can be more calm, I'd say, when you're playing people who you're not really expected to beat. But it turns out I've always performed the best when I've been playing those type of people. Yeah. Not sure why, to be honest, but it's just, yeah, I just feel way more relaxed because I feel like even if I do make mistakes, no one's gonna judge me, no one's gonna be upset because you're playing someone who's better than you. But then that gives you all the more reason to try your very best and play those risky shots which you wouldn't normally play, I guess. And it does feel good when you do get a win against someone who's a higher ranked than you. Yeah, I mean, ECC was something else, to be honest. It was how I describe it. It's the grown-up version of ICT. I think it is very fun.
It is.
And yeah, obviously the team's a bit smaller, and it's just it's pure fun, like on and off the court. And having a good time outside the court, I think it does prepare you for the next day, as well. Because you've got that good positive attitude. And you're in the right frame of mind to just win those matches, I'd say. That's why I think having support.
You say that. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of debate. Well, a moderate amount of debate on the team's antics on that Saturday night before the Sunday. You can just clear up for us now that we were all in bed by 9 p.m. I think it was, lights out, and we're up at 5 a.m. for stretches and a nice nutritious breakfast.
Oh yeah, obviously. There's no doubt about it. Who would suggest otherwise?
I don't know. It's just been rumours. There's been rumours, and I just it's good that we can just clear that up now from two people that were at the scene. That is what happened.
Of course. How else can you explain the unbelievable team performance the next day?
That is actually what I wanted to ask you. I'm not suggesting there was anything that happened on that night, but you did play remarkably well the next day, having been intoxicated.
You mean well rested?
Sorry, well rested the previous night. My apologies. Do you think that could be a source of excessive usage? Have a well rested night the night before, and then you play fantastic badminton the next.
I think that's a bit more of an anomaly. I don't think it's a correlation to be followed. I mean, I'm willing to try it again some other time, but that would be fun. But getting good night's sleep is a bit better, I'd say.
Yeah, no, you are right, mate. Okay, so moving on from that. So as obviously you're starting to play more for the senior teams, you moved from the fifths to the fourths. I think 2 seasons ago you got picked for the seconds. I can't quite remember. If you can correct me. But so as you're sort of climbing up, like you're climbing up the ranks, mate, and the first team is in sight, the Prem team is in sight, and obviously that's a really big motivator for a lot of people to sort of play at the Prem standard. Can you remember how you felt like? I know you got a call up. How did that like feel when you got it? Like, like talk us through like the story of how you were how it was known to you, um, and obviously the weekend itself, how that was as an experience.
Are you talking about the call up to the first specifically?
Playing for the Prem team, yeah.
Yeah, I was just having a conversation with Will, and then out of the blue, he was just like, "Yeah, do you wanna move up to the Prem and fill in for the men's singles 3 place?" And I was like, I was excited to say the least, but there was also this feeling that, I mean, in my mind, I never thought I'd reach like, first team, second team standard, because it's almost like the stuff of legends, like like you've got all these England players and ex-England players. No, that's not what I'm implying.
Right,
but yeah, I hope people don't take it that way. That's like, I'm not a legend by any means, but yeah, it almost feels like the first team is like, and the second team, you've got England players, you've got ex-England players, you've got like a couple of older players, you've got an unbelievable amount of like experience. It is definitely intimidating. You just realize that you're playing with these sort of people, and it does. I think the Prem weekend going into it, I was a bit nervous, thinking that I didn't want to let the side down if I lost my games, because being the new one in the team, and everyone else has already played before. Yeah, it was tough going in, but once you're there, it's the same thing again. Everyone's so kind, so friendly. There was literally no pressure on me, and it was the same thing. You're kind of the underdog, and I think that's what motivated me to win. I mean, it was really fun, and I did end up getting like the 3 wins, which is great. I was very chuffed with that. I won't lie. But also like, yeah, go on.
No, go on.
Also, just like seeing your teammates play these unbelievable matches, it does inspire you, I'd say, a bit.
I was just gonna say, mate. I mean, you talked about inspiration there. Like looking, like you just talked about your journey through the junior ranks. Like when you look back for your badminton journey from under 11s to now playing Prem for Avon, so just talk us through like how that makes you feel in terms of the personal achievement, because that is almost the pinnacle of sort of going from a junior with Avon, staying with the same county, and then playing for the Prem. That must be, in your mind, like one of your biggest achievements in badminton.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, it does make you feel good, like just to think about how much you progressed throughout the years. And of course, you got to remember all the memories you made with everyone and all the people you've played with. I mean, I've stuck with some people for like years now, and I've met so many good people, I've made so many good friends. Yeah, it's not just badminton. It helps you with like having such a good team bond with everyone. Like you can apply it to many other things. I think it really has changed my mentality. Initially being really competitive to being more relaxed and a bit more chill on court, but also still trying your very best to win the match. Yeah, when I think about it, it does make me feel very happy. I mean, there's so many times when I was just like, oh, I can't be bothered to wake up in the morning, and like used to wake up at like 6 a.m. sometimes to get like well it'd be like a 2-hour car drive to wherever before your first games. And there were times when I was like, oh, I can't be bothered, but once you just do it, it just becomes so fun. Yeah, it is great to see how you progress throughout the years. Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember what you did in the past as well. I think that's really important.
I know, like from knowing you a long time, mate. Like I know you're not much of a sort of goal setter per se in terms of badminton, but especially like now everyone's obviously experiencing COVID. We haven't been able to play for so long. Looking forward now, are you the type of like are you thinking you're sort of trying to set yourself specific goals to do with badminton, or are you just enjoy getting back and then you're going to take it from there? In terms of maybe personal achievements or sort of tournament achievements or etc.
I think when it comes to badminton, I think I've just always set this one goal, and it's just to keep having fun while playing, because the moment it doesn't become fun, I think is the moment when it all goes downhill. I think that's what I want to do once I come back out of lockdown. I ideally want to play to the same standards as I did before lockdown, but that's not looking very likely. But I have been trying my best to keep my fitness up, and I catch myself like shadowing in the living room sometimes. But yeah, I maybe get more involved with the sport, I'd say, because it's all good. It's all good playing all these matches, but I think I should try and get more involved in the social side of the sport, because I think there's quite a few Avon events which I've missed for various reasons, which I'd like to meet up with friends. And I think because being friends with more people is always great, especially when you play badminton with them as well. So that's one of my goals. I think the other goal is to get more involved with universities badminton.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually elected captain for this year at Imperial, but obviously I didn't really do anything except for organise trials, which is fun. But yeah, I'd like to continue with that next year, because it's the same thing. Like, the team is so good, and it's just that's what makes badminton so fun to me. Just the team aspect of it, the social aspects. Yeah, I think in terms of improving in the future, I'm not sure. I just want to see where it goes. To be honest, I don't really have any set goals. I just love it so much. It'd be great if I could keep getting better, but I mean, realistically, that's not really going to happen unless I start like knuckling down on training and stuff. I mean, it's true, isn't it? It's true.
It's not, Sid. Don't give me that rubbish. That's absolute rubbish. Anyway, no, just finally, as we just talked about, obviously you've come through the junior ranks and got to where you are today. What would be your advice to maybe someone who's sort of coming up at Avon Badminton as a junior and sort of getting into that and taking those first steps into senior levels? What would be your personal advice to them in doing the best they can in that?
I think it would just be to just get stuck in. Just go for it. And obviously you will feel a bit nervous at first, but you'll soon realize how good everyone in the county is, just at supporting you. And there really is no drawback of trying your best and trying to get your badminton game to the highest standard it can be, because that's definitely what I did throughout the years. And I will admit the transition to senior level is a bit intimidating, but it really is the same environment, so you've got nothing to be afraid of. And all the more, like, we need more people. We can't let the county die at the grassroots. We've got to get people involved, which is really good. I mean, I do see a lot of junior players now, and it does make me happy to see them trying their best. I sound like I'm an old person. I'm literally like, dude, I'm 19.
Every opinion's valid, mate. I was just actually, I said it as last question, but just one more thing to ask about. Obviously, recently, sort of the World Tour badminton has started again. We've spoken a lot over the years about, and we've obviously been to the All England together, and we've watched some amazing players. Are there any players on the international circuit in particular that you see as an inspiration, or you like to sort of almost model your game on, maybe, or even just players you just love watching?
Oh yeah, there's so many. That's literally what I do in my spare time, just watch badminton. I think there are quite a few people coming up from the juniors into seniors who are like properly good. There's this guy called Christoph Popov.
No, he's unbelievable, isn't
he? He is so good. I think his attitude needs a bit of work, but he is so talented.
Because
And
he did the round the back shot against.
yeah,
Did you see that when he on
yeah,
that point he did that.
I watched that live and I was like, oh my god, what
Like,
is
so did I. I watched it live and I was like, go on, smash, and he got it. And I was like, oh god. But then Johnny still went on to win, so it was all.
Yeah, I was really happy for Johnny. I think Johnny definitely deserved that, and he's like a future hope for England, I'd say, for the singles. In terms of international, I can't get enough of Ginting and Momota. They're probably my two favorite players right now, and every time their match is just absolutely amazing. For different reasons.
Not as much.
Not as much, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think the matches between Ginting and Momota are just so high paced, and it's just so fun to watch. Like Ginting especially, I just love how fast he is and how quickly he moves. I think I mentioned before, Hans Christian Wittingus. What a warrior! He's ever since that one rally he played against Lee Chong away. I think it was in the 2012 All England. I was just like, this guy, he doesn't know when to stop. You must know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I was just about to say we've got our own. Do you remember, like Cam was literally the Hans Christian Wittingus of the Avon Junior circuit, wasn't he? Even if a shuttle was like 2 meters in front of him, I reckon he'd actually take a step back on purpose so he could dive for it. And then, but I mean, the scenes when you two want a doubles point or he wanted whatever point when he dives, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very fun watching it when you're like next to him.
Yeah. Whenever I dive, if I dive, mate, like there's no chance of getting up. I mean, yeah. Same with you, isn't it? Like, there's no hope for us really if we dive. Like, it'll look great.
It's never really a dive, it's just to fall over.
Yeah, it's just a fall, isn't it? But
that's one of my dreams, actually. Just to win a point with a proper dive. That's got to be a dream.
Sid, is now the right time to tell you, man? That's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen, mate. I'm sorry. Anyway. Anyway, this is descended into absolute chaos. But I think we'll leave it there, Siddy. Thank you very much for joining me, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always.
Welcome out.
And I'm not sure, thank you very much, obviously, to everyone that's got this far and listened this far. I'm not sure who the next guest will be as of yet. Obviously, we've had good news. Well, I mean, we've had a sort of date where we might be able to get back, which is very exciting, but still a little while away. So hopefully we're going to be able to bring you many more videos. But thank you very much for listening again. Sid, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.